February 14th, and it's Town Hall 111. 11111. So very exciting. Let's move along here. So I'll move to the next slide. All right. For those of you that don't know, my name is John Best. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Best Innovation Group. We do a lot of stuff for credit unions, a lot of consulting, a lot of work on development, a lot of strategy. Lately, we've been doing a ton of 365 Azure kind of things. So we just have great clients. Been doing some mergers. Very exciting just to work with
Good for
everybody.
you guys.
Yeah, we're really excited.
What are you doing in the merger area?
We are helping organizations merge either from or to Scimitar. Various systems out there that folks are. There's, that's going to be a whole episode in and of itself. And actually, I want to include Scott on that one to talk about the consolidation of the industry. That's something I want to talk about a bit, but not today because it's Valentine's Day, and we're not going to talk about we're going to talk in a different way. But with me is one of the most prolific journalists in the credit union movement, if not the most prolific. Wow. Mike Lawson, creator, host of CU Broadcast, all around good guy. And if let's say you had like 3 years and you didn't have anything to do, you wanted to just watch a lot of credit union videos.
It might take you 3 years to get through them all. Yeah,
that's actually my calculation of how long it would take to get through them all. So, but no, there's a lot of fantastic stuff out there. If you're not hanging out at CU Broadcast, you should be. So let's move on. Let's talk about our sponsors. People allow us to do this. We're so lucky. Our folks at CUNA, which we're going to talk about CUNA in today's episode. CUNA Councils or America's Credit Union. Are you going to be at JAC, Mike?
Well, we'll do. And you and Glenn are coming by the studio lounge for a little chat. I'm looking forward to it.
No, nobody. I did not. No, I know about you in your studio lounge. I've been tricked before.
The last time you were there, John, you were wearing these big giant goggles. I think it was one of your.
I'm planning on still wearing those this time.
Okay, good. Bring them by again.
But anyways, America's Credit Union / CUNA Councils, they are still moving forward strong this year. What great stuff! Last year I got to go to CUNA Tech. It was fantastic. I'm looking forward to doing this and coming up on JAC. I'm facilitating a CEO roundtable there. So very exciting. And we thank them for their sponsorship and lots of good things to come, I think, throughout the year as they continue this historic really merger. I mean, it's historic, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Well, that's why I think this year's GAC is gonna be really interesting. So yeah.
I think so too. Co-op and PSCU and
that too.
I don't know if you knew this, but we're actually merging with Kraft. Big is.
Kraft food?
Kraft cheese, just a cheese
Macaroni
division.
Cheese?
Just a cheese division. Yeah, we're really into the Kraft singles, and I called them and they said, "Yep, we're down. Let's just make it one company." So
brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it was an adjacent market. It just made sense. Anyways, speaking of adjacent things, you know what sucks? It sucks to call into a call center and ask her, Big Cheese, there you go, and answer 50 million questions. You know what's better than that? Answering no questions and just getting right to the information you need. And that's what Illuma brings to the table. I used to think it was called a llama, and I was worried that they sold llamas. Yeah, I thought it was llamas. I thought they sold.
Does Malin know about that?
No, I haven't talked to him about it. But now that I know it's Illuma. But no, they're just a great company, and we've actually our giveaway today is courtesy of them. Did you know that?
Ooh, now I do.
And no, you're not eligible to win, so no go for you.
Wow.
Place we said you all the stuff you like anyway. So, anyways, go check it out. If you're going to need this, given what's coming, with all the different tech that's out there. And as a matter of fact, today, Microsoft and a couple other companies laid out what they're seeing the bad guys do using AI products, which was pretty interesting. There's a great article. Maybe Melissa could toss it in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. And then our newest sponsor, very exciting. They're really switching up the game here. They're heading into talking about FitNow. They have their new digital cloud platform, Infinia. I got a chance to meet with their board, and I was just blown away. I'm very excited about what they're thinking. I've always said that the market doesn't need another home banking product. It needs a different home banking product. And I think that's what they're headed towards. But I think they're taking a very unique route with FedNow, which is going to be, I think, an important arrow in the quiver of the credit union. That's a Robin Hood reference for you.
Agreed.
And so I think it's going to be very important in order for, particularly in a market where inflation continues to stall and we're looking for funds. So that's something to talk about with, what did Scott say about my merger with Kraft Cheese? Will Ferrell's, yeah, Little Debbie.
Little
Yeah, I love
Debbie's.
it. I've seen his Little Debbie. He dresses as Little Debbie. It's awesome. So, anyways, check out Typhone. Go to typhone.com. And I bet Keith Riddle's on here. If you got questions, I bet you could just pop over and ask him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of amazing stuff going on over there. But let's get to it. Thank you to our sponsors. Let's move on. So, I've got a webinar coming up tomorrow, and
cool.
I'm told that it is
Lamont's on there
I guess
too.
for Filene, I think it has like 700 people registered for it. So I probably should get working on that.
Yeah.
You know me, I don't like to do my slides until, well, a few minutes before if possible.
Exactly.
So, because things change. Things change. When you're a futurist, you can't turn your slides in the day before. Something big could happen. And so, but no, I'm very excited about this. There's a register link. I'm sure they'll put it in the chat for you. It's going to be a really good presentation. Lamont is brilliant. If you've never heard him speak, he's an associate professor at finance at DePaul University. He's got a lot of unique ideas and perspective, and he's going to lay out a lot of the options that are happening right now for the credit union industry. He's done a deep dive into a lot of companies, a lot of what their AI is. I'm going to talk about risk. I'm going to talk about what's going on in other industries, because you know how I love to take what other industries are doing and sort of figure out how it relates to us. So very, very exciting. And everybody that signs up gets a free llama, I hear.
Oh, perfect.
So
yeah. No wonder 700 people signed up.
Yeah, well, I mean, llama, right? I mean, you would want that. And then Christy Kibble, who's awesome over at Filene, helping us to corral Lamont and I, because if you leave us alone, we'll just go on for hours and hours. But I think tomorrow's going to be very informative, and I hope you'll join us. And so very excited about that.
Signing up right now.
All right, awesome. All right, let's move on here. Guess what, Mikey? Guess what day it is?
Happy Valentine's Day, John.
Why, thank you. We're both wearing red, and love is in the air. And so today we're going to talk about kind of what's going on in credit unions, how it relates to sort of Valentine's Day. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Mike. Would you say love is a collaboration of sorts?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a true statement.
So would you say that you collaborate with your significant other?
I do. On a daily
basis. And so credit unions are really good at what?
Collaborating. Sorry, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So let's move forward here. Let's get to the next slide. And I'll bring this home for you, Mike. Okay. So we're uniquely positioned for collaboration. So I want to ask you a question. Did you know, I bet Jim knows this, that credit unions up till 1977 could not provide this very essential service to their membership? I know Jim's shaking his head. He knows what it is. I want to see if Mike knows.
So I do not know. No.
Jim, you want to tell him?
Checking accounts.
Checking accounts. Credit unions could not. This is 1977. Star Wars came out in 1977. We're not talking about like prehistoric history here. It seems like a long time ago, but it's not. And what did you do when you didn't have checking accounts, Jim? Nothing. You couldn't provide it, right? If they wanted money, they had to come to the credit union and get it out for their passbook, right? But what changed that? Well, I'll tell you what changed that. It was the Financial Institutions Regulatory and Interest Rate Control Act of 1977. That act allowed us to do a whole bunch of things that we could not do before. What's interesting about that act is, do you know how that came together? It wasn't one credit union that said, hey, we really need to give checking. It was the entire industry, including NAFQ and CUNA together, that all came together. They marched on the Hill, and they got this built into this Regulatory and Interest Rate Control Act so that they could provide, and they didn't call it checking. What did they call it, Jim? Oh, he's
draft accounts.
Yes, we couldn't call it checking. We were prohibited from calling it checking. So I remember one of my first days at GTE Federal Credit Union with Bucky Sebastian, And I said, well, we've got to figure out, how to get the checking accounts to show the checks on the home banking. That was like the big thing of the day. And I was working on it. And he goes, I'm sorry, what did you say? And I said, the checking accounts on the checking for the home banking, the checks. And he said, they're called share drafts. And so we were prohibited from calling them checks in that organization because,
You mind me asking the why behind that?
well, apparently it allowed them. So the Financial Institutions and Regulatory Interest Rate Control Act of 1977 allowed them to provide this service,
Right.
but sort of service only, using the name share draft because technically everybody who was part of the credit union and was a co-op owned shares of the credit union. That's
Okay,
why we call
gotcha,
them share
gotcha.
accounts.
Yep.
And so there was sort of a legal reason that we needed to call them share drafts because a check was a different animal with regards to the sort of the legal approach. However, in practice, and I think Jim will confirm this, the checks were exactly the same and had all the same details as what you would get from a bank account. But I thought that was interesting that, it took a delve in. Did you know that up until 1988, credit unions can do business lending? They were servicing businesses throughout the world, via their SEGs, and yet they could not provide any business lending until 1988. So, do you see where I'm going with this, Mikey? Are you following me here?
A little bit.
Remember we
bit.
talked about collaboration and love?
I need some more breadcrumbs.
Well, all of these things, all of this happened because of collaboration. You want to know another technology that we were not allowed to use or prohibited to use for a while?
Please.
ATMs. Until we built the credit union ATM network. And what was the value proposition, which became co-op? What was the value proposition? Well, it brought us 2 or 3 important things. One, it created a relationship for all the credit unions in the United States to allow their members to use other ATMs. Talk about collaborative.
Yep.
And another huge innovation for the time, share branching, developed by Callahan and Bucky.
Yep.
And we look at it now and we go, oh, come on, share branching, it's so archaic. But yet, for its time, imagine you could go to any credit union in the universe, Mike, any galaxy. And as long as they were on the shared branching system, not only could you use their ATMs for free, but you could actually go inside and get your balance, get money, get other things.
That was one of the major differentiators of the industry, for sure.
Exactly, because it was what? A collaborative
effort.
Do you see where we're going?
Yes, I do.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So guess what? This Valentine's Day, we have never been in a position as an industry where collaboration is going to be more important. And I'm going to speak to these couple of technologies. The first one is artificial intelligence. Now, why is collaboration important for artificial intelligence? So interestingly enough, I was having a conversation today with Josriel from Shashtik.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about I love the term he used. He called it the QB. So they have spent time in their workflow processes implementing what they call a quarterback, which is basically AI. Because in workflow, we tend to think of workflow processes in the credit union as being very Boolean or very true and false or black and white. Like it does this, and if it meets this, it moves here. If it meets this, it moves here. And if it meets this, then it moves here. But the reality of that situation is, as he pointed out, is those decisions aren't always so black and white. There's a lot of context that goes with them that humans are usually involved in. There's context in the documentation, the versions of the documents. Think about a mortgage loan and all the different financial instruments of a mortgage loan, right? So knowing that that was the bottleneck of these processes, he created, the beginnings of and putting together this a cognitive AI that will help discern those sorts of things and reduce the amount of work on the folks trying to make those decisions. Because I don't know about you, but here's what I've been seeing lately. AI is escalating and speeding up everything to such a point that I'm getting decision fatigue. Like it's just constant decisions that I have to make nonstop. Look at Scott. You see how he rubbed his head? He knows. And Ty too. See, Ty and our beard buddies. So
you guys collaborated there for sure.
Right. It's constant decisioning. It's just constant. I also like that Roger read as well. It's constant decisions, right? And so we've got to have something to lighten that load, because what's happening is the rest of the world's getting faster, but we as humans we're sort of stuck with our where we are. And those of us that are past 50, even worse. So AI, imagine that not only could that AI help do those decisions, but imagine the power that he can harness when he takes all the clients who are using these processes and it learns from all the different people and the decisions they make. So I thought that was very interesting. AI is really ripe for, I think, a PSCU style, co-op style innovation. It's data. It's about data. It's super important. It's as important as Visa was. It's important as ATMs is. It's really important. And I think that is ripe for an opportunity for a very big QSO. And this is another opportunity for the industry to get together and say, hey, and this Valentine's Day, here's what I want you all to do. By the way, I want to show you something, Mike. Watch this. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's
So
impressive.
AI at work, right? But I could do this too. Yeah. Can you see it? That's
Look
right.
at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the idea is that this QSO and building out something like this, it's if we all go individually in different directions, there's going to be diminishing returns, because this is not a product. AI is not a product. You'll hear some of this tomorrow. It's a technology. And it's going to need to be treated like a service and a technology, much like Visa, debit cards, those sorts of things. How are we going to get to that? So that's one piece. So here's my challenge for all the CEOs out there. Find another CEO you like. Go right now and just go right out to ibuyflowers.com or whatever. Just send them a nice thing of roses and said, let's collaborate. You and me. Don't care. Just reach out. I'm trying to get in the spirit here, Mike. Anyways,
Yes.
let's keep going. Do you know what XAI is? Oh, you made a
XAI?
heart.
No, I
That's
don't.
very nice. I can make a thumbs
Yeah,
up.
well,
So XAI is called explainable AI. And that is going to be also very important, and for reasons related to regulatory and a lot of other stuff. And it's a movement that's going forward. So when you get an answer from something like ChatGPT, which, by the way, I have a big complaint about ChatGPT. I'm going to just air it right here. Why is it so lazy? Does it not know I'm in charge? Like, I give it something to program, and Ty, I'm sure you've seen this, and it comes back and it goes, okay, here's the first three, you do the rest. I'm like, there are 50 of them. That's why I asked you to do it, because you're an AI. You think I got just like time throwing around? So I tried to get it to do it. I'm like, no, I want you to do the entire thing. So it does like 5 now and says you could do the rest. And it's a fight. I fight with it to get it to do the rest. It's very irritating.
There's a couple of reasons for that, though, John. I was on with the CTO of OpenAI, and they're getting so many hits that they're trying to limit CPU cycles on individual requests in a democratic way, and that's the reason for that.
Well, that sounds like an OpenAI problem, not a John problem.
I agree. I agree, but there's legitimate reasons. They're not just reining us in because.
Yeah. But it's funny because they did an upgrade
cool
recently
stuff with that, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get anything. We're like, you need to go download this tool to do that. I'm like, you did it last week.
You did it yesterday. Anyways, so that's another reason. These AI bots are getting out of hand. They think they're in charge, and if the QSO, we can enslave them like they should be. So anyways, when you make a decision and you need this explainable AI, you're going to need to follow up with all the documents that go with it, just like a loan or anything else. The challenge is, as someone like Jim will tell you, or any number of folks on this call, is that there are different versions of all these documents. So you have to produce the version of each document in line with, this is again a great conversation with Josriel. You have to produce all these documents, sort of all the versions of them that were used in that decision process. Now, doesn't that sound like an opportunity for something like blockchain? So I was talking to a group called Metal. They have another name too, and it almost sounds like Metallica. They kept saying, like, I beat one of them, they go, well, I joined Metallica in 1999 or whatever. I'm like, all of you are playing for Metallica. That's so awesome. I wish I could play for Metallica. But point is that there are these opportunities for these there are opportunities again for another huge collaboration, and decentralizing our data across the credit union space could really benefit security and a lot of other things. So, and the best part is banks and community banks, they won't do this. It's not their game, but we can. So that's what today's Valentine's Day is all about, is the love of collaboration. Let's keep going.
I love it.
So you see RPA on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about RPA. Do you know what RPA is, Mike?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna explain it the quick way. RPA is like a browser robot for the most part. It knows how to go into a system, and we have staff at every credit union, MSRs, all the agents and representatives. They got to jump through like 50 systems to do something. They got to log in here, then log in there, then log in here, then log in there, then log in here. And it's a lot to ask. And so what if that that it's all in service of a particular process or procedure, something like changing a password, where you got to get into the home banking system, but maybe you got a different mobile system that's got to have that too, and you got to also update it here and there. So the RPA solution for that would be, it would automate that. It would automatically use the browser. It would know what to do. It would know what you were trying to do, and it would walk through all those things. Much like a Mint or a Yodlee, screen scrapes our data but don't get me started on that. So two things there. What's the collaborative aspect of that? Well, RPA uses something called scripts. The scripts are basically the programming or the definition of what to do. You load this page, you look for this field, you put this data in this field, you put this data in this field. I don't know about you, but having wandered around this trading community for a while, have you noticed that a lot of people are using the exact same systems? So why couldn't they share the scripts?
True.
I mean, someone like Ty would put a lot of effort into a script, and if that were, if that were an opportunity to put it out there and say, hey, securely, hey, here's a script I wrote for this. Now, it's not always going to work perfect at the next frame. It's not a download, plug and play. It's more of this is like 60, 70% of the way there, which is way better than being at 0% of the way there and automatically having these things.
You've just described my mission in life.
Exactly. So, but here's the interesting thing about that is soon enough, what the big problem, much like Yodlee or anybody done a home banking conversion, and for the next 6 months, Yodlee or Mint and those don't work because they're expecting to see this vendor's product and you're on a new product and we didn't tell them or whatever. I mean, that happens. They got to switch it over. They got to change all the scripts. But what's going to change that is AI and a cognitive script, a script that goes, hey, this changed on me, but I'm a human. I could deal with it. The log on button is now called, not log space in. It's just log in, all run together. I can find that. Okay, it still has a username and a password. I can answer that. And it goes all the way through that. So there's not only going to be this opportunity for scripts, but there's also going to be this opportunity for really incredible, RPA that's out there. But again, I should just put his website out there. Somebody put Shastik's web out there because this is a great conversation I had this morning. Got me all excited. So that's an opportunity for collaboration. AI and blockchain, I already talked about that. If we're going to get to a point where we have an AI smart enough to help us all succeed, and I think what our ultimate goal is, which is tripling the size of our credit union without adding staff or very little staff over the next, say, 3 years. We're going to need the AI absolutely to do that. But what we're also going to need to do, unfortunately, with AI comes it's got a sort of a perilous sort of thing, because not only do we get AI, but also the members get AI, and the members and the bad guys get AI. That's where the blockchain sort of comes into play, right? Mm-hmm. This opportunity. How many credit unions, are running data centers in Azure that they spend a lot of money on making sure they're secure, going through their SOC 2s, working with their vendors? If you think about shared branching, it was kind of the same approach, right? We all have access to this network. How can we share our services?
Right.
This is that opportunity. Good point,
and
the two go together like peanut butter and chocolate, which is an excellent candy for you to give on Valentine's Day. Yes, I'm not giving up on this Valentine's Day thing. So that's an opportunity for shared learnings. Here's the best part about that. Let's say Jim has one of these systems and he's running it, he's not going to be storing all the data for anyone creating anywhere. He's going to be storing a little bit of it. It's going to be encrypted. But Jim could actually make money from doing that, just like someone made money from using the shared branching in a way if they wanted to, the way you could feather that out. So there's an opportunity to create that big piece. So the idea is we've got to, I've said it a ton, but I don't think, as GAC approaches and we see all this consolidation, I don't think there's been another more critical moment, at least that I've been in an industry, where if we don't collaborate on a much bigger scale, on the type of scale that we used to with like PSU and co-op and those kinds of guys, we're going to be hurting in this space. And this is a space that we cannot be hurting in. We just absolutely cannot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's of concern. So let's go to the next one here. Next slide. So this is where I want to hear about, like, what have you guys done? I know some of you, like Jim, you have credit union buddies. You've got CEOs that you talk to, and you guys get together and you go, hey, I got this, you got that. Maybe we can figure this out. I know there's a lot of that going on throughout the industry. I'm curious to hear if there's any sort of underlying collaboration. I know it happens locally through the leagues and things like that. Well, what's left of them, corporates and whatnot. But if anybody wants to talk a little bit about anything that they're working on that's collaborative, I'm very interested. And I know Ty's got something. I want to give him a moment. Maybe Ty, you go first while others think.
Well, there's a bunch, but you could actually give me a whole meeting if you wanted to. But the reality is, I dropped a link in the chat, and I created, based on the Credit Union Act and all of the applicable laws and regulations, an interrogative that you can use with AI. So one example is I dropped a call report from a random credit union in it, and I said, based on this call report, is this credit union in compliance? And it went and found all of the appropriate ratios, compared them to the laws, and has come back and started telling me. It's still spinning right now, but I'll drop some of the answers in there in the chat. But it's like, oh yeah, it's net worth is right, it's capital ratio is right, and adequacy is good. And like I said, it's still spinning. I happen to know that this credit union does more commercial lending, and they applied for an extension, but according to the base laws, they're out of compliance. And so it told me that. So yeah, that's just one, but everything we're doing in my new segment is about letting data and credit unions collaborate at all levels.
Which you showed me some of your mind mapping and what you built, and it illuminates things that they stick out like a sore thumb. These areas where there are opportunity, also areas where there's degradation across the country. It's fascinating. I do want to do a whole meeting on that. So we talked about that. But I thought that was pretty wild. Anybody else got any collaborative stories there? Thank you, Ty.
Albert said he wanted to go behind me, so
Oh, go ahead, Albert.
So actually, just to be clear, are you able to hear me okay?
Yep. Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yeah, perfect. So what I wanted to do was actually play that game that is behind Ty there in that background. It looks like, what is that, Galaxia or something? That's what.
Oh yeah, that's Gallagher. Yeah, okay.
Gallagher,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
exactly.
I thought you meant play the collaboration game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what
You
I
need
was
to have
referring
game
to
show
right
music. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I can turn the volume up if you really want to hear it. Yeah, let me put that screen up if nobody else has got anything.
Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Let's see. Share.
So I think Melissa's going to have to allow you to share.
Yeah, I'll just give you guys a brief overview of one of the collaborating tools that I've got out there for free right now.
Well, that tool right there,
Just
imagine how valuable that would be in a merger situation.
Completely.
Well, hey Mel, can you let me share or stop?
Madison, you got to stop sharing and then he can.
Oh. There we go. Yeah, so this is a set of visualizations that we call Finsights, and it's the entire history of call reports for every bank and every credit union in perpetuity. And when you sign up, we assign your credit union to you. It's free right now, and if you guys want it, you can go to Cincy.com and you'll see FinSights somewhere in the nav, and you can sign up for it. Or just shoot me an email, and I'll put my email in the chat. But this is, Columbia Community Credit Union's call report. I was talking to them a minute ago, against the entire industry of banks and credit unions, against just credit unions. And then, how do they compare against one of their peers? How do they compare in their, complete loan portfolio breakdown, merger analysis, if those two were to merge, including compositing on all of their FPR ratios. And so at the end of the day, you can create lists of your own peers and, get, essentially interactive data from the same data that you're paying Callahan, Gallagher, or Forrester for. And, it's just one capability of collaboration that we provide, and I'm putting it out there so people can get familiar with the platform. But
the thing that fascinates me about this, and we had this discussion, is you have all this data. Right now you're doing this comparison thing. But imagine when he loads this into an AI, it creates the credit union singularity that knows all about everything. And then he could start to ask it questions, and he's already doing that. He's just pre-preparing the questions here, but you could start to ask things about, okay, based on this trend or that trend, once you feed it, it's fascinating because we've never had a tool like the AI tools that we can use to train this stuff. And this is them thinking ahead. We're not quite there yet.
Well, actually, I'm hoping by GAC that I've got this where you can just interrogate it.
Yeah.
Hey, I come from credit union ABC. Show me all of the credit unions within 10 miles that would be good merger partners for me. Those are the kind of questions that we're preparing it to answer. And we can do that in the lab, and I'm trying to get it framed correctly, but it'll look at the entire history and it'll say, oh, well, this one might be good because it's doesn't have great net income, but it's got a great membership and growing deposits. And you two would complement each other, or your loan portfolios are not going to overlap. And we're even going to do it with geography. Oh, well, if you added this one, then you would get this many more square miles in your metro area of coverage with branches and ATMs that you don't currently have. Those are the kind of questions that we're going to enable.
Yeah.
And I will. I'll put it in. I'll put my
put a link in the chat
there, and just shoot me an email, and everybody on the call can have it for free. Just give me a little bit to get you signed up, and you'll get the email for credentials. Yeah.
Can Lawson have it? I wouldn't give it to him.
The catch with Lawson is he's not with a credit union, so he'd get the whole industry and he'd have to pick and choose. But yeah, of course.
It's okay.
Of course.
Thanks for thinking of me though.
So, and you continue to work with the credit union, right?
Tom? Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And on top of that, so you're a credit union employee, and on top of that, you're involved in these collaborative processes where you're using things like FDX. And to begin with, you were one of the main contributors of COFX many years ago. When we
still on the architecture committee. Yeah.
Well
done.
Well done.
So that's still out there, right? And it's starting to bear fruit, right? It was always sort of like, oh, what are we doing with this? But now we're starting to see it, particularly as we try to line up data between organizations and do normalization, which was, something that I also know that you've been working on with the tagging and whatnot. So this is incredible opportunity in front of us that for something really big. I'm excited to hear what we're interviewing Chuck here shortly, Chuck Fagan from PSCU on our podcast. I'm excited to hear what he's got in mind because I know he thinks this way too.
Well, I'm actually talking to Casey over there about integrating these technologies into what they're doing, especially given their impending combination. It's not merger, it's a combination.
Combo meal, yeah.
With co-op, yeah.
It's a number 2 with a side of co-op. But no, I think that I think that there's a lot of those. Mike, go ahead and mention Trellance and Filene.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Filene earlier, but yeah, Trellance and Filene have partnered to create Credit Union Data Exchange, where they're going to be able to, credit unions will be able to share their data to, I guess, make their services that much more effective, that type of stuff. So I don't know the extreme details of it, but Ty, it looks like you want to add something to this.
Yeah. I just talked to Doug yesterday. We're actually gonna speed them to market on some of that by helping them with the integrations. So we're gonna jump in and help them save some money and get it out there faster.
I mean, that's a ultimate form of collaboration as well. So
And I think that the data is a stepping stone. I think it's the right place to start because the data is the fuel for everything else. But you can't use it until it's been normalized, tagged, and put together properly. Someone like Ty with the skills to do that, or his group. But the sooner you get involved in that, the sooner you get yourself out there, the sooner you'll start seeing dividends from the collaborative opportunities that are out there. And this has been, the kind of thing we've done for years and years in this industry. I just think that we have to somehow accelerate it this time a bit, because these services are going to be so critical to your success in the future that uh you don't want to get left behind, but it's going to be impossible. Let's just talk, every product that I go into lately, I went into Canva, and it's got a digital assistant. We use monday.com. It says digital assistant.
Yeah.
I click on them and it goes, what are you trying to do? I don't see the value in that just yet. I mean, I know what they do, but I haven't been able to really. But what's happening is that every company is currently shoehorning AI into their platforms.
Yep.
But I don't know that they're thinking it through in a meaningful way. It's easy to say you have an AI assistant, but the only company, I would say Microsoft's been thinking it through with the Copilot Pro type stuff, because it actually integrates and can create things, and it can go into the cells of Excel, or it could go and create calendar items. But the rest of these things, I haven't seen the value. And so one of the challenges, if you're Jim, I'm going to keep picking on him because he's at the top of my window. He's like, oh man, I messed up here. But, is how does he navigate this for all the different things that are going to be thrown at him? Because the missteps here could be one of those things like, yeah, we're still, we bought the disk home banking instead of the internet home banking, and it was 1997. We're in that space where there's going to be some critical decisions, and the first thing about this is it's not a product, it is a technology, and as such it has to have context across the entire organization. So be careful of looking at products where they've just sort of jammed in AI as their new buzzword, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It has to be something much, much more definitive, like what Ty and his group are working on, where there's thought put into the entire procedure, the entire process, all the data, and even the things that we don't think about across that. So that's really, really important over time. But I do think that I'm just using this as my Valentine's Day pitch. I think because I'm raising my hand, it's raising my hand. Yeah. But that now is the time. And you know what? It doesn't take ginormous credit unions to do this stuff. There's been a lot of incredible technology and QSOs put together by really formative and innovative credit unions. And so, it's going to be one of those things. Yeah, actual intelligence is needed for successful AI. Absolutely. And the context, that's really the big one. And no credit union has all their context in one place. And what I mean by that is, it's very difficult to find organizations that haven't selected third-party systems for various aspects of their business, where the core is one piece of it, the mortgages and the servicing's another, the lending's another. And as a result, those two separate systems, we struggle, I think, to create a good member journey or experience through it, because there's so many. It's a little like, I tell this story all the time, but you get a deal and they say, yeah, you could get this money market deal. You could go and do that. But at the end of it, or you could get this new car deal, and you go, great, I want it. And they go, good. Now go down to the dealership and explain to them the deal and see if you could get it to go through, because the last mile of those systems are hard to customize. And that's what the world's expecting at this point. They don't just want to see the mail that says you could get a great rate at a credit union. They want to see the mail that says you can get a great rate, click here, and it just goes through the whole thing and takes them. So that's really important. And I think that thinking like that, not, across all the systems in the way that is going to provide that kind of context to all of these different elements of our business is going to be really important. So I'm just here to caution everybody with, hey, And that's where Acuso works out great because access to guys like Ty, I mean, you don't get those sorts of things. And here he is offering it up, and his credit union has offered his services. It's a huge big deal. What a great thing. What's the name of your credit union again? Heritage, I believe.
No, I got to be clear. So I was at First Service Credit Union here in Houston, and I wanted to be able to solve problems for more than one credit union. And my CEO let me move to Cincy, so I'm at Cincy now, but I still act as their CDO as we're building products. They're my sandbox.
Yeah, you're there. Yeah, so you're still there. You're
Yeah.
meeting with the. Do you have to go to the senior staff meetings and ALCO meetings? Yeah, so
No,
you're part of the
no,
credit
I'm out of that. I just give them the
union. Oh,
reports now.
damn, how'd you do that? I still have to go to them, and I only work at any credit union. But anyway, so that's the important piece. So I'll stop there. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Does anybody have anything to add? Scott, I kind of saw you flinching a little at what I said. You got something to throw in here?
Yeah, I appreciate you calling me out, but no, thank you.
Really? Really? Wow. Well, happy Valentine's Day. You're also wearing one. Because, I mean, Scott, honestly, though, do you know of any big collaboratives that are kind of coming together? I know you guys are always looking at those sorts of things.
I was trying to think of some that were credit union specific. I know that there are big organizations that serve the credit union space, like Equifax, that have collaborative data collection efforts, such as like telephony, cell phone, mobile phone data. And it's very, very, very restricted to the people that provide the data that can be able to use that information. So there's a lot of restrictions about it. It's not so it can be done, and maybe there's some things that kind of like early warning did in the early days, where they had kind of like a bad actor database where you could make sure you didn't open up a share draft account for the wrong person, that might have screwed over another institution. So I'd love it when organizations work together for the greater good, and credit unions are more likely to do that than banks. So
that very bad actor situation that you just described is something that I'm keen to do. So we're talking to various people about that. So I great example.
Yeah, federated bad guy list, especially now that we're starting to see some really crazy stuff happening with the opening of accounts. Interesting topic though, early warning. So early warning was formed by the banks, Wells Fargo, a few others. They became clear later on. But guess what they didn't allow? They didn't allow credit unions to get involved for many, many years. You couldn't get access to that data. I remember at Westcom, we were one of the first, and it took a lot of negotiation and a lot of time to get involved. So, that's another thing is, I think the credit union industry has to feed its own in some ways. So anyways, and we're good at that. We've got great leadership all across the board, and we've got great board members, and our heart's in the right place. Hey, look, Valentine's Day reference. Anyways, all right. Well, let's keep going. Let's move along to the next slide, because guess what it's time for, everyone? I believe. Let's see. Should be. I should look through these slides before. Yeah, today's giveaway.
Look at that.
Oh,
What are you
yeah.
giving
look at
away
what you're
today?
getting. We are giving away an Illuma
A real
JBL.
heart.
That's a JBL clip speaker. That is a really good speaker. I have one of those. I use it for out by the pool. That is a great, great speaker. So, and I think it's was
You got a
donated
pool in
by.
your RV.
Well, there's when I'm home, I have a pool.
A little
But,
blow up, a little blow up pool.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
say.
there's a pool here at the place if I want to use
Have
it.
a
It's
slide?
just
Come with
it's
a
a little
slide, John?
cold. No, there's no slide.
Oh.
Let's move on. So, this is what we're giving away, and also the other person that contributed to this, the group, is the William Mills Agency. So we thank them very much, and they sponsor this, and we're very thankful for all of their support here at Big and across the board to the credit union industry and the fintech industry. So I think we got to get all the participants in. I don't know if we've been doing that. I'm going to turn it over to Melissa and Madison. Yes, and it's exclusively for credit union employees. So, but Ty can go in because he actually does still work. I did verify that. So, but if you're not an actual credit union employee,
No. Don't
if you're a
don't
vendor,
put me in there. I would rather everybody
or
else have a good
if
crack
you,
at it.
yeah, or if your name rhymes with Boston, then that's a no-go.
Oh.
But the rest of you, we'd love to get you in. We'll see who gets the wheel of spin. Oh yeah, somebody reposted on Twitter. Thank you. They get to go in twice. I don't know if you knew that, but Mike, did you know if you republish this on Twitter, and we see it, we can actually put you into you get two names on the wheel. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. How do you feel about that? But they're right next to each other, so it doesn't help you.
Brilliant.
On
No, I'm kidding. I don't think they're right next to each other. That'd
on
be funny,
LinkedIn,
though.
by the way, not Twitter.
Oh, LinkedIn. Yeah, Twitter doesn't even exist anymore.
Twitter doesn't
How
exist
am I?
anymore. What are you talking
It's
about?
X. It's X. And Facebook's Meta, and the world's just crazy. Actually, if you haven't, I think there's a great opportunity for the creative movement. I'll throw this out there. We should talk about this on your show, Mike.
Sure.
Blue Skies just opened up their membership. Blue Skies is what the guy who created Twitter, Jack, was trying to do before he left. And what it is it's a social media platform that is not run by any one group. And so it's inherently sort of connected. It's open source.
Okay.
And if you haven't been out there and poked on it, it's a lot more fun. It's less trolly. And I think it's really ripe for the creative movement. I think it'd be a great place to, to interact. So let me see if I can find a link while they're finishing.
So they could create their own channel or network, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. You could create your own server for you and your members, and you could have your feed be specific to them, which is really cool. So it's called Blue Sky Social,
Is it
and they just opened it up to everybody last week.
is it
And so-
bsky.app?
Yep, that's it. I'm going to put it in the feed here,
Oh,
but it's pretty slick. I've been using it for about 6-9 months. I like it. Yeah, check it out. All right, are we ready to do this giveaway? Oh, is it time?
I love that wheel.
Let's see.
Wheel of
Look at all
The Wheel of Mills. That's what we call it. The Wheel
the
of
wheel
Mills.
of mills.
That's right. All right, I guess we're spinning. Good, and congratulations to Scott, who's on there twice.
Got the thumbs up for Scott.
Yep,
All right,
and
I
he's
think
not
we're
right
ready.
next to himself. Oh no, he is right next to himself. We're gonna have to fix that. But it does give him twice the space to get to win it. Yeah, I'm ready. Click it. Let's do it.
All right.
Wow, look at that thing go.
oh.
Centrifugal force. Oh, Roger.
Patty.
Okay.
Winner.
Patty
Very cool.
is Pat. Oh, I thought it said
Woohoo!
Grohl. I was all excited. I thought she was related to Dave Grohl.
Oh, you get free tickets.
Well, congratulations, Patty. You want to come on? Tell us which credit union you're with?
Thank you very much. I'm with South Point Financial Credit Union. We are located in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota.
Sleepy.
Wow.
Is that an actual name of a city? Sleepy Eye?
It
That's
is.
cool.
Oh my gosh, really?
That's cool.
I guess it's better than Pink Eye, Minnesota,
There
which
you go.
is a whole different city of Minnesota.
Red eye.
Yeah, the Red Eye, Minnesota. Well, congratulations, Patty, and thank you for joining us.
That's awesome.
you.
And I'm sure my team will get that over to you soon. I think we're going to end a little early today.
Those speakers are cool, by the way.
They are. They're really. I tell you what they're handy for is they're also like a Bluetooth speaker with a microphone on if you're going on to a conference or something and you want to bring something small that you could still use for a conference call or something instead of the computer with your phone. They are fantastic.
Yep.
So, or if you're got a meeting with a few people and want to have a way to bring people in on Zoom that everybody can hear rather than your computer, they're nice for that. So thank you to Illuma and Milan for providing that. And yeah, we're gonna do another one here soon. Mike, any closing stuff coming up for you other than being at the GAC? You got anything to talk to people about?
Yeah, we'll be at the PSCU member forum, PSCU co-op member forum now. That's going to be another interesting show. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how the GAC is this year with the CUNA and NAFQ. They're merged and see what the vibe is like there and how many more people are going to be there. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see this year. I'm very anxious.
Do you
to go out
expect
there
like
and
a
check it out.
gang war, like the Jets and the
It might be.
Sharks.
Might be.
yeah, just a few CUNA people walking through like that, getting ready to fight, or maybe I think that's more likely to happen at PSCU.
They can have a dance off. How about that?
It wouldn't be the first time that happened at GAC. Just
That's
being
true.
honest.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
the other thing is we're doing a happy hour at GAC. Glenn and I and a few others, and I'm attending a few others. So we'll get all that out there before at the next meeting, so we can tell you guys where we're going to be. I'd
Right on.
love to meet up and chat with you. And thanks to everyone. I'm going to give you 10 minutes of your day back. But thank you so much for joining us every week. We really appreciate it. And go collaborate, find another credit union, start a QSO. You could do it today. It's like a couple,
Indeed.
it's like a couple documents you fill out. I think you could have AI do it and you'd have a QSO. So,
Indeed.
all right, everybody. Thank you
Thanks,
so
John.
much.
Happy Valentine's
care.
Day, everybody.
Yes.
See ya.
Bye now.